boys and girls, let's meet the players from both teams, starting with Mexico. Number 4, Maria Hernandez Medrano. 5, Isabel Lopez Chavez. 6, Rocio Torres Lopez. 7, Floralia ESTRADA BERNAL. 8, Anissa Perez Pacheco. 9, Lucia Vasquez Delgado. 10, Maria del Carmen Montano Vicia. 11, Clara Vasquez Gonzalez. competition. They proved this by winning Group A. They're only doing their narrow loss against Canada. Now, MERRITT is their top scorer with a 58 on semifinals. The Belarus side is at number 11 by Cobi CRISPIN number 5 and the 23-year-old forward will no doubt give Mexico headaches. Number 12, Shelley Chaplin, and today is Shelley's 28th birthday. She'll obviously be looking to celebrate that in style. The gliders are 6 times Paralympic medalists, but they'll be very aware of the medal that's missing from the pack. The gliders have never won the gold. Mexico won through to the quarterfinal with a 50-42 win versus France in a crunch game. Making the quarterfinal will automatically boost the Mexican ball ranking, which was 9th coming into the tournament. Estrada Bernal is the one to watch. She rebounds her punt and has 57 points in the group stage.
A very warm welcome to Paralympic Sport TV's coverage of the women's wheelchair basketball quarterfinals. They're getting underway this afternoon. This is the first of 4 matches to be played today. My name's Amy Bainbridge. It's great to have you along with us. This is North Greenwich Arena and the crowd is ready and pumped for a great match here. Australia has been in formidable form. Amber Merritt and Cobi CRISPIN have been excellent for the Australians. Mexicans averaging a tournament low of 35.3% from the free throw line. The Australians won 70-45 when the two sides met in a warm-up tournament 3 weeks ago. We can't read too much into that though. This is a very different circumstance indeed. If we look at the groups, Australia finished on top of Group A, followed by the Netherlands, Canada, Great Britain and Brazil, but they were on the same points as Netherlands and Canada, so it was a very tight tussle at the top there. And Mexico, well, they finished 4th in Group B, and that was a tough group dominated by Germany, who haven't lost thus far at London 2012. Then we have the USA, China. Mexico was in 4th position and France in 5th. If you're just catching up on the news of what's happened today, we've already had the classification playoff between Brazil and France. Brazil easily won that. Wasn't much of a contest in the end at all.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is where it really starts to get good at the London 2012 Paralympics.
So we are finally getting into the business end of this tournament.
As these two teams going for gold have to play each other in a quarter-final. First place in Group A was Australia. 4th place in Group B, well, that was Mexico. It's going to be a superb game, so choose a side.
So Mexico are just coming off a loss to Germany, a big loss, 68-28. So Germany quite literally sweeping Mexico aside. So that will have hurt coming off that loss and then coming into this quarter-final. But Mexico wins the tip-off. Vasquez Delgadillo passes off. Unable to score is Estrada Bernal. Kylie Gauchi with the ball for the Australians. She's such an effective point guard. I always really enjoy watching her play. CRISPIN. There's a lot of traffic in the key there. So Bridie Keane was trying to have a shot. She'll go to the free throw line and try and get the first points on the board for this first of 4 quarterfinals to be played today at North Greenwich. Misses the first. And the second, so still scoreless. So Mexico on the offensive. Oh, lovely. So 2 points to Vasquez Delgadillo. She's been a good performer. I did watch her play earlier in the week. Very consistent in her shooting. So another miss for Australia. Shelley Chaplin looking around. She found Gauchi. Lovely shot. So 2 points on the board for Australia. So Australia, the Paralympic Games silver medalists in 2000 and 2004. They finished with the bronze medal in Beijing in 2008. They finished fourth at the 2010 World Championships in Birmingham. So finishing at the top of Group A, they'll be very happy with that. And the strong expectation for the Australians is that they'll come away with the medal. What colour that is the question. An excellent defence, a lot of pressure there and forcing the shot clock infringement. So Keane will take it from the side, passes in. Stewart. Gauchi passes off. Keane shoots. Crispin shoots, rather. 2 points for Cobi CRISPIN. It's a difficult shot. She was rolling away from the basket, had a defender right up in her face. So 4 plays 2, 7:20 left in the first quarter. So Keane passes to Stewart, who hangs outside the three-point line for a moment. I've got the feeling she half thought she might go for it. Crispin shoots. Another 2 points for Australia. Off to a flying start, the Gliders. So Mexico has appeared at the last 3 Paralympic Games. Their best finish of 6th was achieved in both 2000 and 2004. And in Beijing in 2008, the team defeated Brazil in the classification round to finish 9th as they score another 2 points. So they finished 9th in Beijing. So already they've gone better than that result just by making the quarterfinals. So Crispin on a roll, literally and figuratively. She's scoring well. Already 6 points for Crispin. And Gauchi puts Baquez Delgadillo under pressure. Gets the steal. Heads down the right-hand side of the court. She's got no defenders on her, but she misses. So you're watching Paralympic Sport TV's coverage of the London 2012 Paralympic Games. This is the first of 4 quarterfinals we're going to see at North Greenwich today. Amy Bainbridge with you, and it's my great pleasure to welcome Kevin Bowie to commentate alongside me. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. Look, this is off to a good start, this quarterfinal. I know you've been following this tournament closely. We just had the classification playoffs this morning. It was a real blowout, unfortunately, for France. Brazil had a good win there. But Australia, they're going to be tough to beat for Mexico, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. They have a very strong side. Some young players that show a lot of talent and some veteran players that are very quality as well. they will be a tough side, absolutely.
So Varquez Delgadillo, she's been one of the stalwarts, I guess, of the Mexican side. We've seen her attempt quite a few shots already in this game, but hasn't had a lot of success.
Yeah, absolutely. They do like to shoot. They play a little bit of an unconventional style of wheelchair basketball, looking for sort of an older style with double screens and sort of trying to run some people off picks to go inside, but they don't have a lot of finishers inside.
And that's really been one of the keys to this tournament, hasn't it? We've seen a lot of, well, there's been a number of teams that haven't been able to finish off, like when they're actually taking shots within the key, those high percentage shots, they just haven't been able to finish off. What is it, a lack of focus training, or just when you're playing at this level, you're just under so much more pressure than normal? Or?
I think what some people don't really realize is that there's a lot of chair contact going on between the bumpers, and little tiny adjustments take a lot of practice to adapt your body to be able to take those contacts and do it, especially if you have lower functioning disability. You're not necessarily as easy to adjust when those little shots inside happen, but you'll see players like Cobi CRISPIN and other players like Shelley on the Team Australia that are great finishers inside, despite there being sort of a little bit lower than the 4.5 class, but still very strong finishers.
So Kylie Gauchi, I saw her play in Sydney a couple of months ago, and she's such a star. I love watching her. She's so fast. So Stewart shoots. Shot falls. So Australia 12 plays for Mexico. We're just over halfway through the first quarter. So a pretty good lineup of matches today. The quarterfinals are always interesting. You never really know what everyone's capable of really in a finals atmosphere, do you? We've got the Netherlands and China, Germany and Great Britain. Germany, of course, are undefeated for this tournament, and the United States and Canada. Who do you like at this stage of the tournament?
Well, I got a chance to see China play for the first time live yesterday, and they were amazing in their finish with the USA. US playing out in overtime by just 2 points. So that was a terrific comeback by USA. They were down, I think, 8 with 2 minutes left to go. So China, they've shown that they can give up a little bit of a lead, but they can show that they can really push teams. Their starting player, their star player, 4.5 player, number 4, shot 70% from the field yesterday. So
wow,
that's a great number. But I think USA has really strong chair skills, as is the Netherlands, and Canada has a lot of size and experience. So all those sides could go either way. Australia is absolutely in there tough as well with some great physical play.
Yeah, it was really interesting at the top of Group A. So it was a real jostle, really, for who got those positions and who had the advantage going into the quarterfinals, wasn't it? Australia, in the end, fortunate, I guess, because they played 4, had won 3 and lost 1, and that was the same as the Netherlands and Canada as well. So they were lucky to finish on top.
Absolutely. The win-loss record comes into it a lot, and you really have to be aware in a 10-team tournament how you finish and who you beat and when you beat them. It really does matter, but Australia has absolutely lucked out with a great crossover for them to get into the semifinal.
So the coach of Mexico, well, there's 3 coaching staff you can see. The head coach is Pablo Larraga. And John Fiscari for the Australians. Crowds have been great at London 2012, haven't they? Even when there's not a home side playing, they're very generous in their applause and cheering.
Absolutely. It was with a British commentator yesterday who really said he felt like Brits are really coming out of their shell during this tournament and stuff like that. And they're absolutely a big, loud crowd, and people are really loving wheelchair basketball.
And that's why I guess I kind of question what might happen between Germany and Great Britain. I know that Germany, are much better on paper and they've played so well this tournament. But when you have the home side, they're certainly going to be behind, the crowd's going to be behind. And we've seen these great performances from the home athletes. The crowd really, is an advantage in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if Great Britain gets a chance to be methodical about their play and they get hot from the free throw line or get a few jumpers early and stuff like that, it can really change the rhythm for Germany, who likes to dictate the pace. And anything could happen in that game with crowd support. You're totally right.
So the shot's up. There was 5 seconds left on the shot clock. So a bit of defensive pressure there from Mexico. So Estrada Bernal, one of the stars. There's a lob into Estrada Bernal. So 2 points and she'll go to the line for another.
Absolutely. That's a terrific and one there. Good finish and concentration inside. You can see that chair contact I talked about earlier and how you drift out of the way, and you really have to adapt your body to be able to control that.
Sure. So in terms of the fouls that are called, I mean, all the same hand signals are used as in able-bodied basketball as well, but the contact of the chair is a different element again. So perhaps we could tell people a little about what you're not allowed to do. Sometimes it's obvious, you know, sometimes there's a ramming of the chair, but sometimes there's contact and it's surprising that a foul's called.
Absolutely. So the definition of a foul with the chair is an additional hand signal from the able-bodied game called crossing the path. The path indicates the 2 chair rails of the seat must be in front of the caster wheels of the opponent in order to cross the path in front, but you also have to give them time and distance to stop their chair. The referee's discretion always, but there is contact that when chairs are absolutely side by side, sometimes the heavier, more muscular player will win out just on weight.
Oh.
That big shot.
Kylie Gauchi. Gee, that was a nice-looking shot too, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but
No, for a shot that good, it's worth it.
she was like an athlete possessed, wasn't she? Just went for it, absolutely went for it. She was half a metre outside the three-point arc. So, yes, so just going back to that, when the 2 chairs are level, and it's often, you were saying, it's often the bigger or stronger player that will be called.
Absolutely. Sometimes their push rings will link together, and as each one of them tries to accelerate in the same path, one will get linked up with the other and will fall, but the other player just gets to continue because they shared a path.
Right.
If that player wants to intersect with that path, they have to exceed that player and then turn in front.
So 10 seconds in the backcourt, was it?
8 seconds, yeah.
8 seconds. Okay, so that's another difference to the able-bodied sport as well. So you must get over your halfway mark in 8 seconds.
Halfway in 8 seconds.
Yep.
And if the ball goes out of bounds in the backcourt while the 8 seconds is being counted, you only have the remaining time left of the 8 seconds to get through.
Sure.
So you can see Australia is actually subbed here for a little bit smaller, faster lineup.
Sure.
Although Mexico has a lot of height on the floor, they feel like they can really push them out.
So Estrada Bernal, again, dictating play.
You can really see how wide Mexico is right now.
I was going to ask you about their offense that they're running here, because often what we've seen, not so much with Mexico, and I've only called one of their games, but some of the other sides, let me think, I'm not sure if it was Brazil, perhaps some of the lesser sides, it's fair to say, there's a lot of traffic in the key area, particularly on the offense. It makes it very difficult to score inside.
Absolutely. A lot of times the less skilled teams, they can't really push the defense wide because they'll give up holes and layups to the basket. We'll try and zone and just play corners of the key and the center to try and funnel anybody who tries to get into the key to their biggest, strongest player, and hopefully that will lead to good defense and sort of daring you to shoot from a high percentage from the outside.
Sure.
That typically works really well in the women's game. In the men's game, it doesn't work quite the same because the men's players are very agile and tall. So if you give up that distance, they'll shoot over you.
Sure.
And they have skills like tilting and stuff like that. That there are fewer women that can do those skills. Although you will see it occasionally from players like Cobi CRISPIN, who's quite a terrific tilter on the women's game.
Sure. And by tilting, you don't just mean backwards, do you? I mean, there's a lot of
No,
movement
it's sideward
sideways.
leaning of the chair to the side. You're actually balancing it outside of your balance point
Right,
and
okay.
recentering your gravity over
So you've
top
got to
of the
have
wheel.
extraordinary core strength to be able to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. You'll only really see it from the 4s and 4.5 level players. There are some men's 3 and 3.5 level players who can do it as well.
Yeah. So 21 plays 10 in the women's wheelchair basketball quarterfinal between Australia and Mexico. The top scorers so far are Cobi CRISPIN for Australia. She's scored 8 points. Estrada Bernal for Mexico has scored 5.
can hear the coach talking about it now, just really looking to expand their teacup, which is how high they're playing above the three-point line, and really trying to push chairs wide because they know they're a little smaller than Mexico and that they're being hurt a little bit inside, but not to give up too much space and make a lot of chair contact. That's really important when you're playing up on that shell.
So if we check out the statistics, Australia is shooting at 60, just over 66%. Only the one three-pointer attempt at the moment. But a lot of turnovers for Mexico. 8 plays won. Mexico being hurt in that regard at the moment.
Absolutely. Their lower point value players are not quite as strong a ball handlers, which means the ball has to be in their stronger ball handlers' hands, which have more function. It's easier for Australia to stop them because they have quality midpoint and low point players that now they can put a lower point player on a higher point player, and then their higher point player is able to defend and help.
Sure.
And help defense is everything here. You'll see a lot of talk from Australia versus Mexico. They're a very talkative bunch, sort of led out there by Cobi CRISPIN and Shelly Chaplin, who are sort of some team leaders out there right now.
So Crispin at it again, and she'll try and make this a three-point play. So
Cobi really known for her inside presence, that as a dominant player.
Yeah, she seems to enjoy scoring from all around the key, but particularly down the base. Really in the post area, she seems to enjoy scoring from down there. And even, sort of a couple of feet outside, she's very accurate as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Her strength is definitely in that key area. Less of a jump shooter, but definitely has the one-on-one chair skills to beat almost anybody in the world right now.
So Estrada Bernal misses the shot. The defensive boards go to Australia. So that's Shelly Chaplin. There's nowhere to go. She tries to drive base, so she's popped back out the top.
Shelly's quite a good point guard. I had the privilege of playing on a team with her in Canada. She played one season there, and it's actually her birthday today.
Oh, excellent. Well, not to be biased, but let's hope Australia can get a win for her birthday, if nothing else. So the loser of this then goes on to play a classification match, don't they?
Yes, they will go and play one more time just to get game experience. I think IWBF is doing a great job of trying to develop the women's wheelchair basketball game and giving countries from other zones really a good chance to play each other and develop.
So Amber Merritt. It's very tall, Amber.
Absolutely. She's become a terrific little player.
She reminds me a little bit of the French player Delapine, who is also slim and tall and has these beautiful long arms, but it also means that she's got a really effective shot under the basket as well, because they can, just have that bit more reach back from the defense.
Absolutely. Height's definitely an advantage. The only way to sort of get around height is to be able to do the tilting skill that we discussed earlier.
Sure.
So, yeah, in the women's game, being tall and being able to post up is very successful. You'll definitely see that from players like Janet McLaughlin for Canada.
Sure. Oh, she's amazing. Absolutely amazing. She just kind of makes it look so easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't necessarily have the chair skills of a Cobi CRISPIN, but has the height to sort of counteract that chair skill ability.
And so when you say the chair skills, you mean obviously the dexterity of being able to maneuver in a short, tight area?
Quickness of acceleration, the ability to have agility in the chair, which sometimes contact will be created between the chair. And if you can hop it to the side and then effectively accelerate away from that, you'll be better poised to get in the key and stuff like that. Whereas players that are a little bit slower on their chair skills and stuff like that rely on their teammates a lot more, which is a benefit too, and they seal them into the paint. You can see them trying to operate the seal down on the baseline closest to us.
Yep. Oh, lovely shot there. So Shelly Chaplin, another 2 points. She's got 4 to her name so far. Crispin, the top scorer for the Australians at the moment, with 10 points. And Estrada Bernal for Mexico on 4 points. Miranda Arantes on 4 as well. It's a lob in. We see that lob a bit, don't we? To varying degrees of success, where they try and lob into that low post.
Absolutely. The hook pass is definitely a really big skill in wheelchair basketball.
Oh. So MERRITT scores another 2 points.
You'll see she kind of passed her and realized she was a little late. She needed to try and tilt to play some defense and over-tilted.
Right.
Kind of fell there. So you can see her go up and tilt.
So tilting a skill defensively as well as offensively.
Absolutely.
So Mexico's ball from the baseline after that score from MERRITT. Oh, it's a steal there. Chaplin.
You can see how much chatter is going on between the Australian players that make that press very effective. So they all know where each other are, who's locking up what chair, and where they can take risks in the passing lanes.
I was going to ask, I mean, I haven't seen any of this tournament thus far, but are there many injuries to players, particularly when you over tilt and fall out of your chair? Because sometimes they seem to hit the ground extremely hard, and I think, gosh, you could easily sprain a wrist or...
Absolutely, they do. You'll see some of the players use kinesio tape on their arms and on their wrists to try and support the strength of the ligaments and stuff like that. For players who do fall quite a bit, you'll even see some of them wearing a sleeve that has padding in the elbow, and they try and fall on that.
Yeah. So MERRITT, his long arms. Easy interception there for her. Chaplin. So, 2 points down, a shot to come.
Amber MERRITT really made her mark this year at the World Juniors for women's wheelchair basketball, which is the first ever, and she showed really well there, as did Bridie Keane and Cobi CRISPIN. So,
yes, because they are quite young, really, aren't they?
Absolutely, they're terrific players for their age, and even like a veteran like Shelley Chaplin, who's been around since 2004, she's still very young and could go on for the sport in a while.
Oh, that's good news for Australia. The shot was good. So they obviously the world governing body is trying to make sure they develop a range of countries and a range of age of players as well.
Absolutely. There's been a men's junior since 1998, I believe. And it's just this year that there's been sort of felt that there's the depth of talent in the women's wheelchair basketball and that level that they really feel like they can use the junior launching pad to work towards great senior success. And you're even seeing some of those junior players make an impact on the senior stage. And the junior age for women is under 25, but the junior age for men is 21. So,
right. So
sorry, 23. 23. Yeah, so a little bit of a difference there.
So Torres Lopez scores 2 points. So 33 plays 16 in this match. And what do you think the main difference is between these two sides that we can see here? You said that Australia's gone for a quicker, smaller lineup, although MERRITT's been playing a lot of minutes
right now
already.
they're back to sort of a medium-sized lineup, but still with some speedy low-pointers out there. And maybe that's Bridie out there. With Shelley, so they're both very quick players, create some height mismatches. Now, the big difference is that Australia is able to play a defensive style that pushes Mexico really, really wide. Mexico gives up a lot of space, hoping that Australia will shoot a lower percentage today, and so far they haven't, and Australia's also got some finish inside. So, yeah, the difference is really chair skills at this point.
So 2 personal fouls to Miranda Orantes. So Amanda Carter finishes it off nicely. 36 plays 16, 5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Nice steal by Amber MERRITT there.
Lovely. She's got good hands, hasn't she?
Absolutely, she does.
Very quick reflexes and
Australia seems to find a way.
Position. Yeah, just it's positioning. Like she's just there.
Absolutely. They seem to find a great way of recruiting excellent athletes with great classifications for wheelchair basketball. A lot of 4s and 3.5s that can really make up for anybody else's 4.5s. Australia doesn't have a lot of 4.5 level players, whereas
and
a lot of other
of course,
teams do.
the 4.5 is the maximum points you're allowed to have, isn't it? So how many points can you have on court again? Can you recap
14
for
points.
us? 14 points.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge advantage to be able to play more points on the floor. The more function, the better you can do. So if you can play a 4.5 player, typically they have a lot of function and are very strong players. But if you can find a 4 that can equal a 4.5 in terms of skill and shooting and chair skills, then you're really able to have an extra half point on the floor in your other areas to be able to guard their, say, 1. You can put a 1.5 on the court.
So then it just comes down to a depth of side, and you're not just relying on one key player, but you've got several that can make an impression.
Absolutely.
So Estrada Bernal, Tina McKenzie with 1 foul. Mexico gets another 2 points on the board. Nice pass there from Estrada Bernal. So, of course, we'll have the men's quarterfinals getting underway tomorrow. And that'll be a very interesting competition as well, because we've had a couple of upsets, hadn't we, in the men's draw. I've seen a few of the matches. I got to see Australia, the Rollers, play yesterday afternoon. So that was good to see. It's different when you're there in sort of courtside and see what's going on.
Yeah, Australia has a terrific side on the men's as well. Brad Ness, terrific player. Absolute beast to watch out there. He's a big boy.
He dominated yesterday. He was great. So McKenzie to Merritt. So Estrada Bernal, they just rely on her so heavily, don't they?
Absolutely. She is their ball handler, scorer. She's sort of their everything player.
She plays good defense as well.
Absolutely. And you can really see that relying on one player versus a whole team of very talented athletes, it's a big difference.
So Leah Maria Suarez Martins, who played for Brazil this morning in their victory over France, scored, I think it was 46 points.
Wow, that's a big number.
Oh, it was unbelievable. She had over 20 at halftime, so we knew she was going to go for a big score, but again, that situation where the team relies on her so much. She was pulling down rebounds, and she was, she had some good support though. Da Costa, one of the number 10 for Brazil, I think she had 6 or 7 assists by halftime, so she was clearly just finding Suarez Martins, just working together really well.
No, it's perfect. And a lot of low-point players don't get the credit that they deserve. They help seal those big players into the key and give them the opportunity to score high-percentage hoops. And they really need to be rewarded. And their teammates often will high-five them afterwards and say thanks a lot for helping me with my success, right?
So Gauci looks at her shot but decides against it. Keane. Lovely.
Great work there by Australia to really use up the entire shot clock, pass the ball around a lot, and really what you're doing there when you pass the ball around that much is make heads turn, and sometimes heads get lazy, and that's when you take your cut off the top of the key, and that's perfect execution of wheelchair basketball right there.
Yeah, well, it's basically exactly the same as in able-bodied basketball. The shot clock's there, but it's not something to get nervous about, is it? You actually have time to run through a proper offense.
It really is a big difference in the able-bodied game is that you can put your best player on one side and really isolate them and say, hey, take it to the hoop for me. In wheelchair basketball, the defender actually has the advantage because you actually have to put the ball down on the ground, then push your wheels. But then the defender can react to the position you've made. So you're really utilizing your teammates a lot more in wheelchair basketball, and that's sort of what makes it a little bit more strategic and a little bit more interesting sport for crowds to watch. Even.
Sure. It's been interesting, I guess, watching some of the men's matches as well, but a lot of the women's teams to me seem far more agile than some of the male players when they play in terms of their wheelchair manoeuvrability.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some terrific women's chair skills out there. And then there are some very elite men out there as well. So chair skills all over. I think women's game has really come up to the men's game in terms of the quality of chair skills. And really, there are a lot of leagues around the world now that are allowing women and men to play together. And in fact, it's really encouraged. It helps women's development, and it also helps men's development. So Australia is one of those countries, and so is Canada. And we're sort of proud to be real powerhouses in the women's wheelchair basketball game as well as the men's.
So there we have it, half-time. Australia in a very comfortable position, 44-20 over Mexico in the first of four quarterfinals that we're going to see played today at North Greenwich Arena. It's always fun time at the arena. We've all had all sorts of shenanigans going on the last couple of days, dancing and playing bongo drums and all sorts of things at half-time. The teams will go off into their change rooms and discuss the plan of attack for the second half. Meantime, we're left with some dancers on the court.
That's right, the host nation doing a great job in the crowd support area.
Absolutely. So 65 plays 47 in the shooting percentage, and 13 turnovers to for Mexico and 10 for Australia. Australia managing to score 16 points from turnovers, so that is hurting Mexico. So the Australian supporters go gliders. So if someone were to start playing wheelchair basketball, I mean, how long does it take them to get their skills up and their manoeuvrability up to a standard where, you know, you don't actually have to think about what you're doing and you just go for it? It must take a fair bit of time, I'd imagine.
It does, absolutely. It depends on sort of the case. When you have higher functioning players that, or players that maybe played basketball before their injury, it can be a little bit easier. But if you have people who were born with their disability or were injured before they really had a chance to develop some of those skills, it can be tougher. So each athlete is similar, or it can be completely different, and you can have athletes that are very similar, and you try and work them out in different groups that match their skill levels. And working with veteran players, wheelchair basketball has a great family around it where the veteran high-performance players really like to give back to the lower development leagues and teach a lot of skills. So you do learn fast when you're getting taught by the best.
Just looking at some highlights there. Shirley Chapman's 2 points. And Merritt, she's been excellent. So Crispin, the top scorer for the Australians, and Chaplin with 6 points. So Merritt, my apologies to Amber Merritt, she's also scored 10 points, so the equal top scorer for the match for the Australians so far. And for the Mexicans, Miranda Orantes has 6 points, Estrada Bernal 6, and Varquez Delgadillo 6 points as well.
Unfortunately, it's now time. We have to say goodbye to this guy here. It is Harry. Harry. Thanks very much, man. Give him a massive round of applause, ladies and gents. So now it is one each on each team, head to head. Yeah, Lisa and Rory. Let's dance. Every day I'm shuffling. Here we go. Starting around the circle, getting ready to go run for those final walls. And they're off! They're good! Lisa runs the ball first. Is Rory go for it? Rory's gone for it! Lisa! Come join me in the middle. Rory, come join me in the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for both our guys and the winner, Lisa!
You're watching Paralympic Sport TV, our coverage of the women's quarterfinals. Amy Bainbridge with you. Kevin Bowie is my co-commentator. And we're just in the halftime break at North Greenwich Arena. The teams are still in their change rooms discussing what has already come in this match and what is still to come, what the plan of attack is for the second half. Have a look around the grounds at some other events that are happening at the moment at London 2012. There's plenty of action. The men's football five-a-side is on. There's powerlifting, sailing, of course our very own match of wheelchair basketball. We've got the wheelchair fencing, and wheelchair tennis quad singles is on today as well. So we have Shraga Weinberg from Israel is playing Peter Norfolk from Great Britain, and Weinberg won the first set 6-3. Norfolk took the second 7-5, and they've just wrapped up the third set. And that was taken by Weinberg. So Weinberg won the first 6-3, Norfolk the second 7-5, and Weinberg took the third, so he's had a win in that match of quad singles wheelchair tennis. We've also got the women's singles happening as well, and Esther Vergeer, well, she is the best wheelchair tennis player in the women's draw in the world. She's been absolutely dominant for the last few years. She's also played in a number of the big tournaments right around the world and has dominated all of them. So Esther Vergeer has beaten Sakorn Kanthasit from Thailand 6-1, 6-love. Esther Vergeer, it's hard to believe she's only 31 years of age. She's just been so extraordinary in her career. The men's football five-a-side. There's been no score between Spain and Argentina. Spain already has defeated Iran in the preliminary round of Group A 2-0 and drew with Great Britain. Argentina drew with Great Britain as well. But they also defeated Iran 2-0. So almost identical scorelines for these two teams in the preliminary Pool A matches of the five-a-side football, and that's being played at the Riverbank Arena. So I'll keep you up to date with what's going on around the grounds there. We also have powerlifting happening today. The men's under 82.5 kilogram categories. They're split into two groups, Group A and Group B. No surprises there, so once we get some results on that, we'll bring you up to date. And the sailing competition, I can tell you that it's currently delayed due to the wind conditions at Weymouth and Portland, so not a whole lot happening in the sailing today. Liesl Tesh, who's one of the Australian sailors, she's paired up with Daniel Fitzgibbon. She was a wheelchair basketball player for Australia for many years, so she'll be keeping an eye on how the women are performing today at North Greenwich. The women's individual foil category A of the wheelchair fencing just underway is Zuzana Kranjak. And she's from Hungary. Now she's competing against Rongjing from China. 23-year-old rather. So once we have a result from that, we'll be able to bring you up to date as well. So the bad news is that the sailors can't get their competition underway. No such trouble here in the lovely North Greenwich Arena, where the teams are just making their way back on court. 4 minutes 50 until half-time is over and we can begin the second half of this game. But Australia in a very commanding lead at the moment, a 24-point lead. Australia 44 to Mexico 20. And if you're just getting up to speed on Paralympic Sport TV with what's been happening for the Australians, Cobi CRISPIN and Amber MERRITT are the top scorers. They've both scored 10 points each. And for the Mexico players, Estrada Bernal has scored 6, Vaquez Delgadillo 6, Miranda Orantes 6 points. Kylie Gauchi for the Australians has given 4 assists and Shelley Chaplin 5 assists. So the point guards proving their worth very much so at North Greenwich this afternoon. So the next match of the men's quad singles that's happening at Eaton Manor. This is day 6 of Paralympic action. Brian Barton from the United States is just about to start playing Noam Gashoni from Israel. So, provided we don't get too wrapped up in what's happening at North Greenwich Arena, we'll be able to keep you up to date with what's happening right around the grounds, and you won't need to change the channel at all to find out what's happening in the Paralympic sport action. So Mexico has 16 rebounds to Australia's 11, so they're doing really well on the boards. The shooting percentage, though, is such that Mexico are on 48% compared to Australia's 66%. And Kevin Bowie, we're just 2.5 minutes away from the start of the second half. What do you think was said in the rooms at half-time? More of the same from the Australians, and well, the Mexicans are clearly going to have to find something from somewhere, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think the Mexicans are probably looking to see what they can do to adapt their game plan, whereas I think Australia is going to look in this half to work on sort of some foresight here and think about the teams they're going to play, go through some systems, and try and see if that'll work against the Mexican defense. So they both have goals to set here for sure. If I was Mexico, I would set some small target goals and see, can we get to these scoring increments, or can we make this many stops, and just build some success out of this right now. And with Australia, I would definitely look forward to running some offenses that you intend to run maybe against USA, Canada, or whoever you might play down the pipe.
It's a difficult tournament, isn't it? Day after day, physical matches, and the recovery must be all important as well. How do you manage your body when you have to back up day after day? I mean, there's a total of 10 teams in the tournament. It's a lot of games when you break down. If you're going to make it all the way to a medal match, well, they've got not just today, but another game as well, the Australians, and then the medals are on Friday, I think, for the women's, and Saturday for the men's. So what sorts of recovery things will they need to be thinking about between matches?
Well, the nice thing for a lot of athletes in most of the teams these days, they don't really have to think about it too hard. Their ISTs take care of that for them. So they have integrated support teams that do things like ice baths, make sure they have protein shakes, the right foods, and they all have personal diet plans at this level to make sure that they are taking in the right amount of calories for them, and that they're getting the right stretches, heat, massage, and ice that they need to recover. And all those things are really essential. But games like this are really beneficial for Australia, where they can now rest some of their starters and start that recovery process a little bit earlier.
Sure.
So those are some key things in the recovery for for anybody. But you're right, it is a physical, long tournament, and a lot of the team sport athletes I know always joke about, we should get maybe a few more medals for how much work we put in. Yeah,
well, that's right. I mean, when you compare it to, say, a track athlete who, well, might run in a heat and then make a final. Depending on what level, sometimes they have to run a semi as well, but often that's just 2 races. But when you look at these medals, gee, it's a long, hard slog, isn't it, to win a medal in
Absolutely.
a basketball tournament.
Swimming and track athletes often talk about peaking for their event, for their semi and their final. And basketball athletes have to peak for this whole event for a week long. They have to have their body be in primed condition. So, yeah, it is a big task for sure. Your hands get beat up really after a long time. They'll get a lot of blisters and stuff like that on their hands, and that can wear down on you.
So Estrada Bernal straight in there, and there's that tilt. Wow, that was impressive. So 2 points, a good start for the Mexicans.
You can see Bridie has a great reach there, and Mexican player couldn't quite see the basket, needed to tilt to avoid the hand of Bridie, and narrowly missed there. You can see again they're talking about keeping them high and wide, making chair contact is key here, and it's going to make Mexico do some stuff like that, which is take some 3-point shots that are sort of a little ill-advised.
Sure. Yeah, well, she was well outside then, and unfortunately it wasn't a very good-looking shot. So Gauci passes in. So Cobi CRISPIN. Oh, nice.
Great move to get in the paint there, like
absolutely.
Bridie.
So, so a bit of defensive pressure there from Mexico.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, that Bridie couldn't finish that early inside. Also because Bridie didn't hit the rim, the shot clock doesn't reset, and therefore it puts extra pressure on Australia to score there, and Mexico is able to readjust.
Well, it's interesting looking at the statistics at half-time. I mean, Mexico's actually doing extremely well rebounding. They've now got 17 to Australia's 13, so perhaps that's an area Australia's going to need to be thinking about when they face some of the tougher teams as well.
Absolutely. Australia is a little bit smaller than Mexico, so offensive rebounds might go a little bit more in Mexico's favor, as well as defensive rebounds. Mexico is a great box-out team.
Right.
Part of that starts because they start so close to the paint on defense, so it doesn't give any openings for Australia to maybe squeak in there for an offensive rebound.
The chanting there to play good defense, and
absolutely so important in games like this to keep your focus, and the bench really helps with that focus. That's too bad. Another great play by Australia there. A little fadeaway from Cobi CRISPIN, and just a slight miss there.
yeah, I guess it's easy to lose focus when there's Estrada Bernal misses that. When there's, fatigue sets in and perhaps you've got a big margin.
Definitely.
But if anything, you need to keep focused because of, such a big task ahead if you want to get to those medal matches.
Mexico doing a good job there of breaking the press, but now they're sort of stuck up high.
Shot clock winding down. Shot isn't good. Good little rebound there.
A tough one, a little backcourt hold by the Mexican player, and sort of referee stopping a bit of a layup there, but Australia will still get the ball back and get a chance to set up on offense.
So it does seem to happen a bit that you've got to have big eyes as a referee, don't you, and great peripheral vision, because it does seem to happen a lot that there is quite a few incidences monitored off the ball, and they're only too ready to call a foul, and it's got nothing to do with what's actually happening in play at the moment.
Absolutely. Wheelchair basketball has sort of an added element that able-bodied basketball doesn't have, where you actually try and put one player in the backcourt and keep them out of the play, called a back pick, and then try and get 5-on-4 advantages that way. And a lot of times you can end up hooking and holding in the backcourt, and those are fouls, but often they'll let go if the referee has a wide vision, and if he's very focused on something, or if it's severe, it does have to be called. And so that one wasn't on camera, so can't really see what the referee's judgment was there, but it does happen.
And so there's 3 referees, obviously, at this level, but is that normal? Would you normally just have 2, or...?
It's pretty typical from the senior men's and senior women's levels to all the way through Paralympics to have 3 referees, but at the junior level and stuff, it's often 2 unless it's like a national championship or an international junior. A game like wheelchair basketball becomes really, really difficult with 2 referees because of the back picking. One referee has to stay with that, and then you have 4 players, well, 8 players actually, with 4-on-4 to referee, whereas with 3 referees, one can stay with the back pick in the backcourt, and then the other 2 referees have the other 8 players in the front court.
It's too much, isn't it? Yeah. It's too much to watch.
It absolutely is. And between what goes on with the hands and what goes on with the chair, there are a lot of different places to look.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? Because the chair element as well as the hands, you've got to be so switched on as to everything that's happening. It is a big job.
Absolutely. Some of these guys are the best in the world, so they definitely deserve to be here.
So Chaplin tries to get through and draws the foul in the process.
Yeah, great head fake, and then ball movement by Shelley. Almost got by easily, but still fouled. Shelley, a very quick player, one of the few that can really accelerate past a lot of players and use the ball one-on-one.
Oh, Gauchi misses. Mexico rebounds, and Estrada Bernal.
You see Shelley employing one of her patented the best defense is no defense there. She likes to chase a player, and then when it looks like there's contact, pull away and fake that player out of the contact.
Right.
It makes them think about contact more than the hoop,
sure.
And then you see the miss. So.
And she gets away without drawing a foul, which is the
absolutely,
double bonus.
Yeah. So it's double bonus, but Shelley likes that one for sure.
Do many players do that?
There are a few players that are well known for it, and Shelley's definitely one. Kind of like pulling the rug out.
So MERRITT, I was about to say she's lucky not to draw a foul there, but they did call her in the end. So nobody really in much foul trouble. MERRITT's got 2. Garcia Amado has 3 personal fouls for Mexico, and Miranda Arantes has 2. But no one in any serious foul trouble at this point. Just a reminder, if you want to get in touch with Paralympic Sport TV and let us know how you're going, enjoying our coverage, and have any feedback, you can go to our Facebook page. Just type Paralympic Sport into the search engine, or just go to facebook.com/Paralympic Sport. You can also follow us on Twitter @Paralympic. We've been giving regular updates, including news updates and wrap-ups of all the day's action. So another timeout.
Fans getting excited up there on the big screen. We're ready to go again. 4:29 left in the third.
So still no score in that men's football five-a-side match that I mentioned to you earlier. Spain and Argentina, very interesting one to watch. So we'll keep you updated on what's happening around the grounds on Paralympic Sport TV so that you don't have to change your channel. And as I mentioned before, no sailing on at the moment. There's no breeze out at Weymouth and Portland, unfortunately. So the sailors having a rest today, waiting for the breeze to pick up and probably watching some wheelchair basketball, I suspect.
That's too bad.
Chaplin. Back to Gauchi, to Merritt. Nice looking shot. So 2 points for Amber Merritt. She's playing a big role in this match, isn't she?
Absolutely, yeah. Australia doing a great job of now spreading out on offense and really making Mexico come out of their shell to defend. After hitting a few shots, you kind of have to defend out there, and that's what's going to open up some holes for Australia to get back in the paint.
So Amber Merritt's from the Western Stars in Australia. I didn't realise she's only 19 years old.
She's very young. She has quite a few World Juniors left in her, as well as the Paralympic level, so she's only going to get better.
A very long career ahead of her, no doubt.
Australia with a great league system and just great development. And senior athletes that can really, really help those junior athletes develop to a high level quickly.
And teams like Brazil, who I saw play this morning, I mean, it was for the 9th, 10th playoff, but they've come away from London with a win. But it'll be interesting to see how they go over the next 4 years. Obviously, preparing to host a Paralympic Games and always gives you just that little bit extra impetus and training.
They'll definitely have an influx of funding. IWBF is really working hard to develop the South American region in wheelchair basketball. And yeah, all those teams will be coming up, and they'll be ready to go to play in South America, and especially Brazil, to play in their host nation.
So the fact that there's 10 teams in the women's and 12 in the men's, why not have 12 teams in the women's as well? Is it just a matter of standard and competitiveness worldwide? Is that the reason?
I think that's the main reason, really. I think that the women's, for the first time, is 10 at this Paralympics. It's been 8 in the past. And I think that IWBF really feels that women's wheelchair basketball is ready to move up there, but they don't want to advance it at a pace that is not appropriate for the sport's development. At least they know here that there will be a couple weaker teams, but they're giving them a chance to build. They're sort of that next tier, if you will, but still give a decent level of competition. Some of the world is pretty far ahead in terms of the IST, which we mentioned before, and some of just the finances that enable you to go around the world and play the top teams. And that's where South America is still developing right now. And I think that in the future it will move up to sort of 12 teams. And they're talking about upping the men's to 14. The men, the men are at a great level, but they definitely have a second tier of teams out there as well. So yeah, I think in time it will get there, and the women's game is definitely accelerating at a faster rate than the men's even right now.
Yeah, you make a good point about the sports development. I mean, for South America, they are a long way from anywhere. The same with Australia in many ways. At least if you're a European team or a North American team or even an Asian team, you can get perhaps a little bit more exposure to other countries who are already leaps and bounds ahead of you in the sport.
Absolutely. European teams are a short drive away.
Yeah.
North American teams, pretty spread out, but Australia for sure, really hard to get between all of their major centers, and they definitely have a lot of first and second tier teams. Like New Zealand and South Africa are really coming up, whereas Japan, China, and Australia are really dominant teams.
Sure.
So and I should mention China in a brief amount of time. China has only been really even on the scene since they hosted, and now they're definitely contending for a medal.
Yes, they've certainly put an amazing amount of quality and investment into their sport, particularly since Beijing, or in the lead up to Beijing as well. But I think, when a country hosts the Paralympics and they had such a successful Paralympic Games in their own country, really motivates athletes to go on and pursue, their careers, their sports careers, and do well in the future as well.
Definitely.
So 50 plays 29.
Shelley looking for some backboard there and missing a little bit, but getting a rebound.
Getting away just before the shot clock. So Torres Lopez passes off to Lopez Chavez. Pops it back out to Estrada Bernal.
Shelley with a good look from 3 there.
So 9.9 seconds left in this third quarter. And it's by no means blown out. They were up by 24 points at halftime, now up by 21. So
yeah, Mexico definitely making a little
they've
push
held
back.
their own, haven't they, in the third quarter? Oh, that would have been nice for Mexico, but not to be. So three-quarter time, 50 to 29. Amber Merritt, the top scorer on court with 12 points. For Mexico, the next best player on the scoreboard at least, 11 points to Estrada Bernal, so no great surprises there.
That a very low-scoring quarter there for Australia, only 6 points.
Gee.
When they had been scoring 21 and 23, which is very elite-level scoring. Anytime you can score 20 points in a quarter, you're sort of in that elite scoring bracket.
And what's an ideal shooting percentage then? I mean, in able-bodied basketball, it's generally anything sort of, for field percentage around 30, 35, 40%. What about for wheelchair basketball?
In wheelchair basketball, I think the goal in any basketball, able-bodied or wheelchair, is really to try and get 50%. But anytime you're shooting around the 40-something percent mark, you're doing very well. Australia in the first half, they're shooting 60-some-odd percent. And that's terrific, absolutely. There you see 52%, so Australia is still scoring very well from the field. And 50% from three-point attempts, 1 for 2. That's really, really good as well.
Yeah, they haven't been jacking it up by any means, have they? Really, we haven't seen a lot of that.
No, for sure. Most teams shoot around the 30 to 40% mark from 3 in the men's side, but women's don't tend to attempt a lot of threes. USA, one of the few teams that will really attempt a lot of threes.
Well, it takes, I guess, a lot more strength to get that accuracy from that distance when you're in a chair, doesn't it?
It does, and especially you can shoot from the roll in this game, so a lot of people take a little bit of a lead up, but you will see a higher percentage. Just men being a little bit stronger in the upper body can really just sort of park themselves at the three-point line, and some of them can just launch it away. A lot of guys you'll see go sort of 3 for 5 from the three-point line in a game, just a single individual, not just the team. So.
Sure.
Yeah, it is more of a weapon if you can really make something out of it. Three-point line can definitely be a game winner.
So Australia were a little, sluggish really in the third quarter, at least on the scoreboard. Mexico held their own.
See Australia now playing mostly their bench there with Bridie Keane still in as some sort of starter support, and good idea for them to just sort of rest their starters and even their sort of first couple subs. Bridie with a nice little steal there.
Watching Paralympic Sport TV, Amy Bainbridge and Kevin Bowie with you for coverage of the quarterfinals of the women's wheelchair basketball. And still to come today, we have China and the Netherlands, we have Germany and Great Britain, and later tonight, United States and Canada. And you're allowed to be a little biased if you want to be.
No, USA and Canada would be a great matchup. You'll see a lot of sort of height and pick and roll game versus a lot of speed and pressure. That's sort of the two opposing styles of wheelchair basketball.
Sure.
USA with two terrific outside shooters, but mostly people are looking to finish inside. And Canada has a lot of range in their shooting ability. So really see who comes out on top there. But I do have some friends on either side, and especially on the coaching staff for USA. And with Canada, I know all the ladies on the team, and my old coach when I was a junior is their head coach. So
right,
yeah, obviously cheering for Canada, but USA will do well, I think, as well.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting match, that one. Because Canada, have they medalled before at a Paralympics?
Absolutely. Canada is one of the most dominant programs in the history of wheelchair basketball. They were undefeated from 1992 through to 2004 when they lost to USA, and they got the bronze medal there. And then they were sort of off the podium briefly and back on the podium for the World Championships in 2006, and then just missed the podium in 2008, so they're looking to get back on there.
So they'll want to make amends for Beijing 2008 then.
Absolutely. A big changeover in Beijing with athletes and retirements and stuff like that. It was Janet McLaughlin's first Paralympics.
Wow.
Now she's a veteran and a dominant player on the scene and stuff like that. So it only takes sort of 4 short years to sort of change their fates a little bit. Also, other players in their team like Cindy Willette have really developed in that time and got very, very fast.
So a water bottle just dislodged from the chair there, and the umpire stopped play to get that off court.
Yeah.
She must have forgotten about that. I'm sure you're not meant to have your water bottle tucked in when you're back out on court, just for that very reason.
No, you're absolutely not.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful shot. So
see a little bit more scattered passing now that Australia's bench is in, and absolutely Mexico is starting to creep back a little bit.
So 19 points in it now. Well, Mexico on fire. Vázquez Delgadillo scores another 2 points. She has 8 points for this match thus far. Estrada Bernal, 11. Torres Lopez, 8 points.
Oh, that was a great look. Just narrowly missed, but great focus on the contact. Let's see how Bridie's free throw shooting is.
First one's a miss. Second one's good, and they'll have a sub. So women's goalball has also started this afternoon. Canada is playing the United States. No score as yet. According to the system I've got here, that match has been underway for almost half an hour. Cobi CRISPIN's back on the court.
Good try for an interception there by number 6 for Mexico, and Australia will retain the possession though.
So Amanda Carter throws into Stewart. Looks at her shot. Nope. So Mexico grabs the defensive boards. Bounces out, so can't make the shot. Difficult to ask when there's 2 defensive players on you yelling ball, ball, ball right in your face.
It is, absolutely. But she is significantly taller than them, and maybe should have tried not to tilt there and gone straight up. Sometimes you can tilt a little unnecessarily. And
sure, just in a habit almost, or think you need to if you misjudge how big the other players are.
Absolutely. It also helps to develop sort of a wrist flick shot, if you will. You can hold it up there and just use your wrist to propel the ball up instead of giving your whole arm the effort into the ball.
So Keane, another 2 points for her. We'll have a substitution.
Keane and Crispin, definitely a good combo. And,
yeah, they do work well together, don't they? And Gauchi as well when she comes into play. She had quite a few assists in the first half.
Gauchi and Shelley Chaplin absolutely do a great job on the points, and Cobi and Bridie definitely do an even better job inside. So
sure. Yeah, well, Chaplin and Gauchi have both got 5 assists each for this match. So for Mexico, Estrada Bernal has 4 assists. Little fake there.
Great ball fake from Shelley.
Yeah. Through the foul. Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it? I believed her that she was going to pass it off. Glad I wasn't playing defense.
That's why she's a veteran player. She's sort of got some good skills there.
So 3:25 left on the clock in this 4th and final quarter. Not much joy really for Mexico now. There's 22 points the difference. After they shut Australia down really in the 3rd quarter, didn't they? But
yeah, absolutely. Mexico's definitely put all their cards on the table. Their starters have been playing most of the time with only a few subs in and outs. And Australia will be nice and rested for their semifinal now.
so as this tournament progresses, Kevin, so we're the quarterfinals now. Well, the semi-finals, will they be played? So today is Tuesday, day 6, semi-finals tomorrow on Wednesday?
Yeah, there will probably be the semi-finals will be tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, and then from that, there's no second chances, is there? You're straight into the medals.
Yeah, absolutely.
After that.
Yeah, you win, you go gold, and
you lose,
you go to bronze.
Go bronze.
Yeah.
So those medal matches for the women are on Friday, the men's on Saturday. Nice shot there from Amber Merritt. And that was that wrist flick that you were talking about. She had a really good follow through in her shot, didn't she?
Absolutely. It's something that a lot of tall post players really train hard on, because that's sort of the difference maker for them. If you're already tall, and there are defenders who can tilt in your zone or even just be as tall as you, if you can have that wrist flick shot, that'll lead to some big dividends in your career as a basketball player.
So look at the turnovers there. Mexico 17 to Australia 7.
Conversely, you also see players like Cobi CRISPIN, who's more of a tweener player. She's not super tall, nor is she super short. She can play in the post. That's why she has to develop the elite chair skills that she has, because that's how she can avoid playing against somebody of height, using her tilt to her advantage or just her speed.
So at training then, the components of the session where you're just focusing on chair skills and not worrying about the ball at all?
Absolutely. There are a lot of times where for an hour of a practice, you won't even touch a ball. You'll just tow your teammates around the gym using powerful starts and stops, or just overspeed training where you'll tow them a little bit, then they push you and you try and train at a higher speed than you could generate on your own. There are lots of different drills that we can do to develop those chair skills, power in pivots. And those in some cases are essential to the development of a lot of wheelchair basketball players. A lot of times in the lower point category where they don't shoot the ball as much, the chair skills are even more important. We have a shot clock violation, but a Mexican player down.
So Torres Lopez pulled back upright.
We'll see if Mexico tries to go for some threes here, just to try and crack the 40 mark, or even some 2-for-1 baskets.
Oh, Kinsey was in there. Oh, nice little move there by Gauchi.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a very agile and quick player. Great to use the pass as well.
Nice. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, she's so quick around the court, Gauchi. I think that was the thing. She was just so outstanding playing in the National League. I saw her in Sydney a couple of months ago, and in a relatively small stadium, so you're sitting very, very close to the players, and so you get a much better sense of that speed and agility. She was everywhere, all over the court.
Definitely. It's great to be able to watch wheelchair basketball up close, because you can really see the gaps between the chairs and how small they are, and how much people are really using their pelvis or abdominal muscles to work the chair around another chair.
These chairs are pretty light, aren't they?
They are, yeah. They sort of weigh
expensive.
between 18 and 25 pounds.
Sure.
But, yeah, and then they sort of cost in the neighborhood of, well, in Canadian dollars, sort of between $2,500 and $5,000. So
I think one of the statistics we were given was about £3,500, so British pounds. Yeah. So there we have it. Australia wins the quarterfinal against Mexico. It was a relatively easy win. And they'll be feeling pretty comfortable after that, won't they, Kevin?
absolutely, a good birthday win for Shelley Chaplin there. And
That's right. I forgot that it was
off to the
birthday.
semis.
So Chaplin says 27 here on the computer, so she must be turning 28, unless the computer is 100% up to date. It could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think 28 is probably the number.